In our careers, Tammy has won an Oscar. She has also recently, after a long and interesting journey, gotten to become one of the producers on a film, all those type of magazine shows.
Marty is an Emmy Award winner.
So you have Oscar and Emmy in the house. So what we normally do is talk about how you're going to build up to the film that you're actually going to make. So we'll talk about pre-production, production, post-production. Those are the three elements of any good film or documentary. If you are lacking in any one of those three, you could be in trouble. So pre-production basically, and we'll get into more detail, is all the planning, including like where are we going to park, that day, what are we, if it's a long day, where's lunch going to come from, do I have permission to shoot in this house or location, what music can I use? That's all in the pre-production stages, planning. The production is when you're out there shooting, and the post-production is when you're editing what you've shot and adding elements like music, making the picture look better, making the sound look better, those elements. So that's where we're going to get started. Think about those things while we show you some of our work.
So this is from the movie Marty was telling you that I just produced. It's called Slow Learners.
Turning the lights out.
It's a romantic comedy, and yeah, I'm just going to show you a little scene.
Okay, everybody, I want to thank you guys for coming to book club. We are in session. Dan, you picked the book for this week.
Of Mice and Men.
Oh, come on, Dan. He's doing this on purpose,
I
guys.
love this book.
Yeah, I know. You've read it like 1,000 times.
Yeah, more than that. It's great.
He's just doing this to piss me off, guys.
Not true.
It is true, because my name's Lenny, and my entire life, whenever I tell someone that my name is Lenny, they ask me if I'm retarded.
Come on, man. A lot of people have the name Lenny.
Now that you mention it, I'm actually picturing you as Lenny in the book, and it's making it a lot more accessible for me.
What's the connection to the book?
He's a retarded guy who kills other guys.
Don't spoil the whole book for anybody to read it yet.
My entire life, I've had to deal with it. I tell somebody, oh, hi, I'm Lenny, and they're like, oh, this guy's retarded.
Well, maybe it's the cadence with which you say it.
What, the cadence of how I'm singing, hi, I'm Lenny? That's
Yeah, wait, why are you doing it like that?
Yeah, it sounds bad. I mean, you're wearing socks with sandals.
Yeah, because I'm not retarded. I wear sandals because my feet sweat, and I wear the socks to catch that sweat. So the socks help the sandal, and the sandal help the sock. Not retarded. You feel like a jerk.
All right, guys, are we gonna get into the book or not? Because, I can always go downtown and have a drink.
On Sunday?
Sunday night.
Yeah, people go out on Sunday, guys. Girls go out on Sundays.
Yeah, crazy people on Sunday.
It would be nice to meet some girls, though, I mean. I know you guys haven't had dates in a long time.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's not true.
Well, I have a girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend.
You just started that sentence by saying I have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I just wanted to hear what it would sound like coming out of my mouth.
Such an inappropriate time to experiment with that.
You sound like you murdered a girl.
What happened to her?
She was here, now she's not with us anymore.
Okay, the term not with us anymore implies death.
It's almost like you admitted to murdering or killing a woman and then you not
Are
be
you
sure.
no?
Okay, well then why aren't you dating her anymore?
Because I buried her in the past, you know?
Well, what happened? You murder a girl? Or did you like bury her somewhere? You
Guys,
know she's passed
This
yet?
is an inappropriate conversation.
I gotta tell you that if a police questioned me and said, did you notice anything weird about Dan lately? This would be the first conversation that I would bring up.
Listen,
There's no girl.
I never had a girlfriend.
Oh.
Thank God.
I go on dates all the time.
No, you don't. Come on, Lenny. When was the last time you were out on a date?
What day is today?
Sunday?
1986.
Change what's going on with us. We're 30-year-old guys. We have a book club. I wear day. Man, I haven't been on a successful date in a long time. We need to live cool. You know, we need to like be on the edge of the.
What does that mean? It's like the bracelets, live cool.
Yeah, it's like a live cool bracelet.
Live strong.
Guys. You don't have to change anything about yourselves to be cool, okay? You just have to be cool.
Whoa.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I'm gonna write that down.
Wow. Thanks, man.
Sure. Look, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get a drink. We'll do this next week, though, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But, Jeff, you know what? Why don't you take this, okay?
Whoa. You want me to have your summertime leather jacket?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it'll help you on your journey. Then again, it might also hurt. But isn't that everything in life?
Oh, that was cool too. Write that down too. How do you do that? I got it on there too.
I strongly suggest that you locate this film somewhere and go see it. It's terrific.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and so I'm working on a documentary about the human voice, which is of particular interest to me because I guess because I'm a quasi-singer. At least I started out as a doo-wop street corner singer back in the day, and then sang in choirs and glee clubs and barbershop quartets and even in a gospel group pretty recently. So I'm very tuned in and interested in how we use our voices. It seems to me that we know very little about the impact that our voices have on others. We know very little about how our voice ages, and we underestimate the power of the voice. So this is a trailer for the film. I'm going to start a crowdfunding campaign soon, hopefully in a month or so. And here it is. Thanks, Tammy.
Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! We are free at last! It's who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
I was doing just fine until you showed up. A part of you that you thought you'd hidden away has emerged. You think, I don't know who this is that's coming through me.
Well, it was getting me kicked out of class for sure.
I kept it secret.
So I knew something was going on.
The voice is very powerful because it comes from deep within us.
We project our personalities, establish our credibility, and often make our livings with our voices.
Well, everybody in my family was a singer. I sang because I could not sing.
You fool! You idiot! I figured out that I could do screwy things with my voice when I was a very little kid.
Like on planet Earth, there are billions and billions of voices. One note.
Fly me to the moon.
And you're like, Frank.
Play up there with those voice is an exquisite messenger of emotion. There is no musical instrument quite so compelling as the human voice.
I've been so many places. There's something in his voice that is the joy and the pain. Just the actual sound of his voice could bring me to tears. Backing up my life in stages.
We don't think about our voices nearly as much as we should until we lose them.
Oh, I was terrified. I mean, I couldn't figure out what was wrong, and I just thought, well, I'm not working hard enough. Parkinson's disease took my voice away. So I just thought, I can't sing anymore because the audience doesn't need to hear that. So it links our insides, if you like, with our outsides.
So what is it? My voice is a blessing and a gift, and it's clearly on loan. Singing this song.
I can go boo-hoo, I wish I had my voice back until I'm 90, and it's not going to bring it back.
singing the song to you.
That is your voice.
Thank you. So, thank you. We both thank you for that. Any questions about anything that you saw that you'd like to hear more about?
My film is a narrative film, and Marty's is a documentary. So how many people in here think they're going to do a documentary for their film? Okay. And how about the rest narrative, or any music videos or experimental? Okay, and then the rest narrative. So what we're going to talk about is the same process for both kinds. It's making a plan so that the day that you go, or the days that you go out to shoot, you can maximize your time, and it frees you up to be more creative and to do a better job when you think about it from the beginning. So whether it's a narrative film like mine that has a script with lines of dialogue for your cast to say, or whether for a documentary with Marty, it's sort of a plan of what you're going to go out and shoot. Because a lot of times with the documentary, you'll kind of write the voiceover afterwards when you've edited it all together and you know what you have. But you still need a plan, and that starts with the script, which is something that needs a beginning, a middle, and an end.
So one of the things that we spoke about in the last class that I think is a great story is in Tammy's film. There's a scene at a local restaurant. Actually, this film was shot in the Philly area, which is also great. There's a scene in the movie where there's two couples. They start out having dinner, and it gets kind of crazy. There's a lot of wine, and spaghetti starts,
There's a food fight.
Food fight. Spaghetti starts landing on people's faces. So Tammy has told me that that scene was shot at 6 a.m. So there, if you can imagine, there are people like throwing down plates of spaghetti, drinking wine, and having a food fight at 6 o'clock in the morning. And the reason for that is that the restaurant serves lunch and dinner. It was the only time that they could get in to shoot. So that's an element of pre-production, planning to shoot at the restaurant when there's space. Tammy can tell you more about all the things that had to be arranged and set up before they could even shoot.
So let's think about that. Let's say that you're going to shoot something, right, and you need to use a restaurant. Let's say your parents own a restaurant, or friends of the family own a restaurant, and they're going to let you shoot there. So you can't just kind of like say, all right, you need to think about what are their hours, when can you get in there, and let's say it's like mine where they work at night and you have to go shoot it in the morning, but your scene that you want to shoot is nighttime. You need to think about blacking out all the windows so that it can look like night. You need to think about the food that they're going to be eating, and enough food that so for every take, let's say they're eating lasagna, they have a plate of lasagna, every take you need to take it out and have more. In a clip that I showed to the other class, we had a scene where a guy was getting the Heimlich maneuver done, and the person doing it had a thing of water. Don't worry, that's not for you. And the water went all over the actor. So we had to have 6 of the same shirts and pants so that in between each take, he could put on a fresh outfit and start over again. So if you don't think about that until the day that you get to your shoot, you're in big trouble. So you have to get your script and weeks before your shoot, read through your whole script and say, what do we need in this scene? Do we need props? What kind of wardrobe do we need? Who's going to get it there? Who's going to be shooting it? Are they going to get the camera equipment there? Do we have permission to be in the location? Is somebody from the location going to go and unlock the door to get us in? Who's going to clean up when we're done? All this kind of stuff that sounds so kind of boring is so important for you guys to think about. That's what part of what being a producer is kind of being in charge of the whole thing to free everybody up to do really good creative work so that you're not wasting time on set thinking about all this other stuff.
Right, because the old expression, time is money, really starts to have an effect if you don't have your act together. You're paying a camera crew, in our worlds, you're paying a camera crew. If you have them work overtime, that costs more money. You might run out of time at the location if you're not prepared. All kinds of things can happen. So as Tammy and I have spoken about many times, being a producer and producing your own film is a combination of your left brain and right brain, the left brain being the creative part that most people are attracted to. You want to make something that expresses your opinion about something or your view of the world, but you can't escape the right part of your brain or else you'll get in trouble. And so the right part is all the logical thinking. Where are we going to park the car? Do I have change to put in the meter or else I'm going to get a ticket? Does if you're shooting in your house, do my parents need the house at 3 o'clock? Do we have to get out by then? There are a zillion things to take care of. But as Tammy says, if you take care of them, you can go ahead and shoot freely without worrying, what do I do next? The scene that I want to make a point of in that trailer, the group Take 6, we shot them at the Blue Note in New York, and they did 2 shows, and I had two cameras. So we want to get the most camera angles that we possibly can into the final product. And so we shot both shows, 2 cameras shooting the first show, 2 cameras shooting the second show. So I'm just going to put it out there. What would be an important pre-production thing to think about in that scenario?
Where you're allowed to be, like, placement?
Absolutely true. We could only be in certain places in the Blue Note without blocking the view of the patrons. Another thing that, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah?
Making sure your battery is charged. Oh, good.
That's a biggie. That's a for sure thing. Anybody else?
Oh, I saw a hand. Oh, you're going to say?
Okay, so, we're in New York City. Where are you going to park your car? We're bringing in tons of gear. Are we allowed to park it on the street and unload the gear and then move the car to a parking lot? There are all those little considerations, and there's, 100 of them. One of the shooting considerations was we had to have Take 6 wear the same clothing for both shows. Otherwise, since we're combining the 2 cameras shooting the first show and the 2 cameras shooting the second show, otherwise they'd be wearing something different, in a scene. And we wanted to look like it was just one shoot with multiple cameras. So that's something I had to do. And, it was like a summer night and it was a little warm. They weren't thrilled to hear that they had to wear the same clothes in the second show as they did in the first, but that's called continuity, so that everything looks normal, okay? Because if you'd seen them in a different outfit, it might sort of take you out of the moment.
I want to talk a little bit. You're doing a project, a film, or in theaters, you have to, anything you see on the screen, you have to have the rights to use. So you guys won't have to worry about this for yours, but I'm just telling you, if you want to continue to do this at higher levels, anybody who shows up on camera has to sign an appearance release. Any locations where you shoot, you have to have permission and it has to be in writing. Any artwork, famous artwork that shows up, you have to have the rights to that. Music, you can't just take your favorite song and be like, oh, this would be so cool. I'm sure the artist would be psyched to have it in a film. No, you have to contact the management, you have to get the rights. So the only thing that you guys need to worry about for your films, for the Greenfield Youth Film Festival, is music rights. You have to make sure that you use royalty-free music. And that means not just using your favorite song. It means either having somebody you know, a friend who's a musician, compose something original for you, or it means going online and finding royalty-free music at a place like royaltyfreemusic.com. I always mention the artist Beck. He created, he felt that there should be music for people to use in films, and so, wait, was it Beck? It's Moby, you're right, in the last class I said it was Beck. It's Moby. He felt like there should be a place for artists to go and get great music, not kind of canned library music, but really cool music without having to pay a lot of money. So just Google Moby and you'll find it, and you'll find some cool stuff, because really music, whether you're going to do a horror film or a drama or even a comedy, music can really set the tone and do so much of the work for you, so much of the heavy lifting of making the audience feel certain emotions.
And I have a great music rights story. This occurred to some friends of mine. One of my friends got asked to produce a video for the Four Seasons Hotel that was going to play in each patron's room, kind of showing off the hotel. And the people from the hotel, after they saw the video, said, we need music. We need something in there to give it a mood. And so my friend came up with commercial music by this new age musician, Andreas Vollenweider. I don't know that any of you have ever heard of him, but anyway, it's kind of new agey stuff. And he put it into the piece just to show them what music would sound like and look like. And the people from the hotel said, "Oh, that's great, that's just what we want." So my friend, of course, knowing the business, said, "Well, we can't use that particular piece of music. We'll have to have something generic that sounds like that created." And the Four Seasons people said, no, they'll never find out. Just use that music. So, they're the client. My friend was not thrilled about it, but he said, okay, and he left it in. Sure enough, one day, Andreas Vollenweider checks into the Four Seasons Hotel, turns on the TV in his room, and hears his music playing on the TV, and flips out. Goes down to the front desk, gets the manager, who is like, the manager, you got to give the guy credit, he came up with this line, oh, Mr. Vollenweider, we did that just today to pay homage to you for staying at the hotel. Of course, total BS. And you could get sued.
Yeah.
So, they had to take the video down, put generic music in. But, it's a 1 in a million, 1 in a billion chance that would have happened, but it did.
Mm-hmm. So we wanted to talk a little bit about script. Have any of you written a script yet? Yeah. Really? So you're pretty far along the process. That's good. So we were talking in the last class about the idea of a beginning, a middle, and an end to your story, and how important all three components are for a successful story. Sometimes, Marty was saying, sometimes when you see a movie and it's good, but it just feels like it's lacking something, it may be because the setup in the beginning was good, the middle might have been interesting, but it just didn't have a good resolution. Or any one of those parts, if any one of those parts is off, it can make you just feel like it's not working. So especially in a short film, I really like the idea of setting something up and paying it off at the end. And so many good short films have a little, like a button at the end where there's a twist or a reveal or something that you didn't see coming, whether it's a comedy or a horror or whatever. So do you want to, what time, I'm not sure, what time are we done this class, do you know? Okay, so we should start now. We always like to try to hear people's ideas because through talking things with you, other people can learn. So if you're ready, if you want to kind of tell us what your story is about.
I have one short thing to inject, please. In Tammy's film, the premise of the story is that a female and male nerd are friends. Neither of them are in a relationship. They're both kind of looking for themselves, looking for a mate, and within 5 minutes of the film that they're going to wind up together. Okay, so you know that. The only way that this film could be successful with that beginning is to have fantastic stuff in the middle. Twists, turns, are they going to get together? Are they not going to get together? Oh my God, she's seeing somebody else. Oh my God, he is not paying attention to her at all. There are all these great twists and funny and sensitive twists and turns in the middle of the movie. And of course, at the end, there's the payoff, which is they get together, but it sort of doesn't happen in the way you might have thought it was going to happen. So just to mention again about beginning, middle, end, you need to think about those things when you're making your films.
Okay, so who wants to share with us either your idea or if you, like in the last class, somebody had a really good idea but he couldn't think about the end, so we all started talking about maybe what could be a good ending.
Well, it's not about our idea, it's more so about the rights. So we just put two and two together and like our whole film is about Snapchat. Like it has Snapchat in it.
Mhm.
You know, it's a social media app,
Mhm.
so we can't use that.
Well, there's something called fair use, and it's a legal doctrine. And when you're doing a documentary, you can invoke your right of fair use. And what that means is if it's out in the world, and it's a known thing, and you're commenting on it or you're satirizing it, which is making fun of it, you have the right to do that. And so I think at your level, what you're doing here, and the fact that you're doing a commentary on it, and it's so prevalent, the way it's used with people your age, I think that you would be okay.
So let's hear some film ideas. We're the film doctors.
Can I ask you about what you just said?
Mhm.
When you say they have that right to satirize but do they have a right to go onto other people's Snapchat and?
Oh, I see. So tell me more about it, what you're going to do.
Well, it's actually like we're using it, like for example, it's horror, so we're using it as like the stalker or something. He follows this girl.
I see. I'm glad you clarified, because I thought you were maybe doing a documentary about Snapchat. Oh.
Using it in the
Yeah. Now, if you ever watch film, they'll rename it something.
yeah. So we should.
Or like, did you ever see?
Like a Coke can that says cola, but it looks like Coke.
Yeah, it's
called Greeking,
when you change like cereal box with a different.
We use this like the same like, for example, when you first go on Snapchat, it's a camera.
Uh-huh.
We use that, and then like when it says Snapchat, like not
Change it.
choice.
Yeah, I think you probably.
That might
could.
lessen your.
Yeah.
It might lessen your chances of being sued, theoretically. But the best of all things would be. The best of all things would be to have a different image and a different name. Then you'd be totally
They
safe.
put a pear over the Apple logo, just things like that. You know what it is, but you change it slightly. Question. Come on, tell us what you're working on. Let's talk about it.
Come on, I know Kappa kids want to talk. Let's go.
In terms of film ideas, when I was developing, it was kind of like a sort of a dark comedy.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is you have this group of kids and their friends in high school, and they find out that one of the people in their group who's an exchange student is in fact a cannibal from New Guinea. And they all react to that and reconcile it in various ways.
That's good. So this is an idea, and you haven't developed it in any way, right? It's just like the kernel of an idea.
Yeah, I've developed it a little bit. Like I have the idea of a general arc that actually the specific thing is the way they find out is that this exchange student had seen a couple of those cannibal Holocaust films from the 70s and was really put off by the way they kind of portray cannibals. And so with the help of the most oblivious teacher in the entire school, she forms an anti-cannibal defamation league. And the idea is there's some political rigmarole about that within the school, and basically everybody kind of reacts to it. People discuss it, and people think it's really cool. But the idea is everybody eventually.
You have the beginning, you have a little bit in the middle. You need to think about what the ending is going to be.
Isn't anybody going to get eaten? Come on, dude.
Yeah, so maybe, at the end, like I was talking about a twist or a button or a reveal, maybe there's something like the audience is led to believe that somebody's going to get eaten and then they don't, or they're led to believe that it's not going to happen and then there's like a little shot at the end that it's clear that it is happening, something like that.
Yeah, maybe he winds up being a vegetarian.
And I would say just be careful in a short, in that middle part, not to get too distracted by like the politics in school and all that. Like you just want it to be pretty streamlined, because with the short, it needs to be like one solid idea and you don't go down too many other avenues. You know what I'm saying? Like a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Yeah.
I agree with Tammy on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to add on to his idea. It's kind of like a twist that like you don't have to follow me and just giving you a suggestion that when they're kind of like walking away, that like they kind of all agree like, oh, like he's probably nice, like we don't have to worry about him. And then like the last shot, like kind of see him like kind of like it's behind him, but like you see him like kind of holding a knife and like kind of following them. Like so. It's,
That's That's kind of what I was saying, like a reveal that you don't think, you think maybe in this new school environment he's not going to follow his old ways, and you're led down that path. But at the end, there's a little reveal that he still is.
It is like if you actually look up the new guinea cannibals, they don't eat people willy-nilly for food. It's like all part of it's all part of capital punishment rituals, things like that. And the idea is that this character is kind of off put by people thinking that cannibals do one thing when they do another.
So you do need to do a little explaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be, the camera could be taking that suggestion, looking over his shoulder to two people walking down the hallway, and he could be saying, lunch. No. Okay, I'm sorry. That's it for me on that one.
My idea is a documentary about the arts and how they sort of not affect, but how they go along with academics in high schools. But I also want to focus on what the budget cuts have done to the art programs. And I don't know if my main focus should be on the budget cuts or just how arts affect students.
So I would start with the budget cuts and saying, isn't this a shame? Budgets for the arts are being cut. Then I would say, here's why they shouldn't be. Look at the effect they have. And then I would figure out some ending that either supports that idea or, to me, in documentaries, they almost always have more value to the viewer if there's two sides of the story presented. I don't know if you will have time for that, but if there's anybody that you could possibly find to speak about why the budget should be cut.
That's a really good point.
There'd be more drama in your story.
And also now, since we have at least one person doing a documentary, I want to give you my B-roll speech, which is, if you're going to do a documentary, let's say you're doing it about this room, you're probably going to just shoot some cinema verite footage of what's happening, just let it play out. You'll probably pick a couple people that you'll do sit-down interviews with, right? You'll actually ask them questions. But I also want you to think about B-roll, which is all the shots that kind of give color to your story. So if you're doing a story about budget cuts, a great shot would be a slow pan of an empty classroom. You know what I'm saying? Or sheet music lying on the floor, or just creative ways to tell your story that aren't people talking. Okay, so just think about those, and remember to schedule in on your shoot day to have time to shoot some of those kinds of things, because it makes the audience feel it more than just somebody talking at them.
A dusty cello.
Yeah, stuff like that, Or a time lapse of a crowded hall, the hallway is suddenly getting empty. I don't know, just all things that suggest, think about what you're trying to say and find creative ways to tell the story.
Who's next?
Because the type of film that I want to make, it's a narrative, but it's the coming of age, indie type films.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
you could say. But it's confusing for me to think of an ending, because you don't want it to be a cliche. The guy and the girl end up, you don't
right.
want it to be she got what she wanted. But then you also if you do the complete opposite, it's they don't end up together.
We wrestled with that exact thing here. It's okay, do you do the cool indie thing where they don't get together? Well, if it's a romantic comedy, that's not very satisfying. That's not why people are watching romantic comedies, right? But if you do the generic thing and people see it coming a mile away, like Marty said, you have to try to find at least some unique moments along the story, along the path, so that people either are kind of thrown off a little bit, or at least they appreciate what the moments that you've created that are maybe original. That's going to kind of get them to the end. Is it a romance, or so you kind of know?
It's still I don't really know what it is exactly yet. I'm in the very early stages.
I love coming of age stories.
Yeah.
And you guys are at the age to.
It's romance. It's about this girl kind of learning responsibility. Through
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the whole idea is that she really wants a dog, and then it's she has to prove her responsibility. And,
Right.
So she opens a dog walking business. And, she isn't able to successfully prove that she's responsible. So my original idea was that she doesn't get the dog business. She's not But I
Right.
don't really know how to like do that without it being like, oh, well, she didn't get the dog.
Right, right.
Could there be something that challenges her in the middle, or tempts her to be a slob?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I just don't want it to be like, that's what I'm worried about.
So maybe you do something at the end where like she doesn't get what she thinks she wanted. She gets something different, but it ends up being
She doesn't get the dog, but like she like learns, you know.
exactly,
responsibility.
exactly.
But then even that is like, it just seems a little bit like too much. I want it to be less focused on like the moral lesson.
Yeah, and you don't want it to feel like an after-school special. You want it
Yeah.
to have like a kind of vibe. Yeah, I get it.
I like.
You just have to do more thinking.
I'm sorry.
No, no.
I'm doing this all morning. I like the idea of trying to find some kind of other payoff at the end, like Tammy suggests. Like instead of getting the dog, she gets something even better or something
Unexpected.
unexpected. A pony.
Stop. No, that's what we're, kind of like, we're improvising here.
Okay. Who's
I
next?
thought I saw, did I see a hand up here?
Shoot it out there.
That's okay.
Come on.
No, it was to help with branding.
This is what we do.
Yeah.
We're collaborating.
You already said what I was going to say.
Okay.
Oh, okay, good.
Cool.
We're on the same page today.
I think we have time for one more. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I like that
That was
enthusiasm.
exciting.
So I want to do a documentary about like dance and how it's connected to everybody and how it's used as like kind of a communication between people.
Great.
And I just like don't know where to go with it.
Well, so are you going to go like shoot dance classes or?
I'm a dancer, so
Great.
I have access to all of it.
Great. So I guess you need to really firm up, like what are you trying to say?
Yeah, let's think about this.
So he wants to make a documentary about dance and how we all dance and how we can communicate, right, through dance. But so what really? That's it. You want to say you want to show how we all communicate through dance.
How it kind of unifies people.
Right.
Okay, so one of the things that we try to do in the documentary world is give me the first sentence that comes to your mind about your story. So it's really difficult sometimes to narrow it down to one sentence.
But then when you get it,
When you
it's
get
like-
it, then you know where you're going. So what would you say, and we're just brainstorming, you don't have to have, there's no right or wrong. What would you say is the first sentence?
people communicate through dance and don't even know it, or people can communicate things they can't express verbally through dance, something like that. So you need, like Marty's saying, that's the hardest part. You need to crystallize what is that thing, right? And so then obviously you're going to go and you're going to show movement and you're going to show dance. But what would be great would be to find, like Marty did with his documentary. Linda Ronstadt was a famous singer who had an amazing career, and she lost her voice to Parkinson's disease. So it might be interesting if your premise is to show how we communicate well through dance, is to talk to somebody who didn't think they could dance, but then they could. You know what I'm saying? Like, just try to find different sides of it rather than just showing the dance. I don't know. Just
somebody who can't dance.
brainstorming.
Somebody who's learning how to dance.
Well, that's like what you were saying about writing the script later.
You go in with that premise and then try to get
It's a two-prong
I
thing.
think in the real world, you'd want to go in with the premise so you're not wasting time and money.
You'd go in with the premise, but like you said before, you'd go in with the premise, like your rough idea, but then maybe you would shoot interviews. What's his name? Donovan. Maybe you would shoot some interviews with some people, and what they tell you might help you then like write a voiceover to connect it all.
Yeah, and you might also be surprised. You might find out in the middle of interviewing someone that you have a better idea because of what they've said, and you change directions. You're still in the dance world, but maybe it's a particular dance that you find fascinating or interesting or most communicative of all the dances.
What kind of dance? Yeah. So you're going to show ballet, jazz, hip hop, all That's cool.
So it needs a focus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because you could spend days shooting all that stuff, and it could just be a dance video. It won't have a beginning, a middle, and an end, you know, a point.
So 11:15 is that cutoff time, do we think?
Yeah, yeah. We're supposed to go to the lobby, everybody take up your lunches, and then head to the next